Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com, and I'm back with another RV DIY type video for you today. So my wife and I, we own a travel RV, bumper pull camper, and it's a fiberglass exterior and it's a gel coat. So this is pertaining to any campers that have a gel coat finish on them. Some, as you know, will be a painted finish, usually on newer RVs. This is 2012, so it's still definitely gel coat. And as you know, if you own one, the gel coat itself deteriorates in the sun and it gets really cloudy and drab looking as compared to this side, which I've already done the process that I'm going to show you. You can see here how the light behind me is shining nice and bright here, but as you move over to this side, it's super dull because this side is damaged from the sun. So there is a way to bring back the shine, obviously, and it is a bit of a process, and there's a few materials and things that you're going to need, but you know, as long as you've got a place you can work on it and do it, it's definitely something you can do bit by bit and get your RV looking just like new again or close to it. So it's highly recommended that all these products that I'm going to show you, that you don't use them on super hot days, obviously not in the rain. Direct sunlight, if you can avoid it, is best. So what I've done, I'm actually doing it here in the middle of winter. I've backed it into my shop and I've kind of got ideal conditions, but anyways, you may not have that, but just try to do it on a cloudy day or in the shade or something like that. Otherwise the products are going to dry way too quick. Let's show you the products first. Okay, so the products that I like to use are right here. I'm not sponsored by any one of these or any of these companies or these brands. It's just stuff that I've used over a period of years and have learned to like and been comfortable using. And as far as I know, they're fairly easy to find in most areas. So one of the first steps you're going to do is you're going to want to use some kind of cleaner to clean the actual chalky surface off the RV. Okay, so I just simply use spray 9. It's probably one of the best cleaners for almost anything that I've ever found. And I just spray it on and wipe it off with a terry cloth. You're going to need a few of these terry towel type rags, so buy a bag of them or whatever. So yeah, just go around, clean the whole RV off. I just find the spray 9 will get, you know, the little black dots of mildew and bug poop and all that stuff off without too much scrubbing. So spray 9 the whole unit to start with. Then the whole unit has to dry really well. You don't want any wet spots or damp spots, you know, around the edges of any of the you know, obstacles on the wall. So that's pretty critical. Make sure everything's dry. Then the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to use this type of product. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by anybody. If you can't find this, what you're looking for is things that are good to remove oxidization and act as a sealant as well on you know, RVs and boats that are fiberglass or gel coat. Okay. So anyways, this product, I ran out of what I originally used, which I think was a Meguiar's type product or brand product, and I found this one locally, and it seems to work just as well. So that's your next step, and you're going to go around and apply it to the whole unit. What I like to do is I have a terry cloth, and I'll fold it all up and get a corner and just keep putting some product on the corner. And first thing I do is I go around all the obstacles, you know, top and bottom, you know, roof and the fenders, around all these kind of vents and stuff. And I want to apply it along those edges, you know, getting away about an inch or so, because when I use my power unit after to do the main part of the surface, I can't get up against everything all the time. And if I do, I end up just whipping extra product onto the edges of those. And some of the plastics in that, if it's darker, you don't really want to get this on there because sometimes it's hard to get off. So I just use a terry cloth, rub back and forth, you know, 4, 5, 6 times, whatever you need to do. going around the whole unit. Okay. Then once I've got all my edges done, my edging, I use this is just an 8-inch buffer, like an automotive buffer or whatever, orbital. And I've got a terry cloth bonnet on it. And I'll just go along, put some of this product on, put it against the wall, give it a little smear, just because if you start this up when it's not on the wall or when you've got too much stuff on there, it flings off anyway. So I just kind of give it a smear, put the buffer back on there and turn it on, and then start working this in. Okay. So then what I'll do is I'll do about a 2-foot square area at a time, and I'm just working this back and forth, working the product in. You'll kind of learn how much stuff to put on and how quickly it's drying. You might be able to do a little bit bigger areas, but I kind of just put a line or a dab across it, a bead across it, and work it in. So I'll go back and forth in that 2-foot square area, side to side, say 3 times, and I'll go up and down as well 2 or 3 times. Sorry, cord's making noise here. 2 or 3 times. So 4 or 5 times. It all kind of depends on how much your unit needs. Okay, so then I'll just go block by block, getting the whole side or whatever section I've decided I'm going to do done with this unit and this oxidation remover and the sealant. Okay, so even after that, well, when you first do it, it's got to dry. It kind of comes out to a haze. And then you're going to go take a clean terry cloth now and go around and buff off all that excess film, the haze that's on there. I like to do it by hand. I just find that this product anyways, it goes on a little thicker, and if I try to use a clean bonnet to actually buff it off, I just plug the bonnet up and it usually doesn't work that well. So I'll use a terry cloth, kind of get the majority of it off. If you wanted to, if you feel like you don't have it off well enough, you can put a clean bonnet on and go over it then with the power buffer, and that'll just clean up any extras. The odd little bit here and there isn't really going to make a huge difference. It'll come off with the next process, but you want to get 95% of all this stuff off. So, go around your edges good, and then just start wiping. Okay, turn your cloth over, start wiping. Right? So you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna need lots of these. Okay. So now once you've wiped that haze off, it's already gonna look better. If you have an area beside a spot that you haven't done yet, it's already gonna look like it has a bit of shine. But the next process will really give it a shine. Okay, so once you've gone with the oxidation remover and the sealant, then you want to go to something that's more of a restorer and a wax. Okay, so this product is the one I've been using, and it works really well. And it's kind of the same process. Now I want to use totally different bonnets and totally different rags as well. Okay, you don't want to cross-contaminate the 2 products. So a lot of times I'll use 2 different colors or something just so I know, and then when I'm done with it, I'll put that rag that I use with that product so I don't get mixed up. So change your bonnet. You still want to use terry cloth and all that. And it's kind of the same process. So then you take your rag, you take this next product, same thing. Put a little bit on the corner. Put a little bit on the corner and go around all your edges again. Do all that because, again, same problem as I said with the buffer. You can't always get right up against that stuff. So you're just, scrubbing back and forth, 5-6 times, whatever it kind of takes. And again, this stuff's going to leave a haze. So do all your edges, get all that done. Then you're going to use a clean terry cloth and really just kind of repeat the process that you did before with the other product. Okay, you're going to go around, with this stuff, you're going to want to make, 2 or 3 passes one way and 2 or 3 passes the other way. Okay, and again, it's going to leave a haze. It's going to need to dry. If you put a new pad on once that has hazed over and kind of dried up a little bit, it doesn't have to fully get dry, but it definitely has to get dry enough that it'll buff off. Okay, so now you can try a clean bonnet and try buffing it off. If it's a little too thick to do that, then again, you're going to have to use some elbow grease and just go back with a clean terry towel and get the main part of it off. Then you can use the buffer and shine it up. I just always find that you get a little more on there than you probably needed, and it's a little hard to get off of this. It just gums up right away. So then, you know, you've done, you know, it's nice to do at least a whole side at once. You don't have to necessarily for all these steps, but before you do the very, very final process, which is using the buffer with like a wool bonnet, it's nice to do a whole side, and then that way you got a decent area to work with. So you'll put your wool bonnet on the buffer and go over what you just did, and what that wool bonnet does is it just polishes that last little fine bit and gets off any little dabs that you maybe missed or whatever, but it just gives it that final sort of polish and cleans it right up. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you kind of are going to see some marks where you kind of worked at it, just some little some duller spots. Just you can kind of see some product there, so you just want to buff it off with the wool. Okay, so I think that basically explains all of this part. So let's go back to our area there where I had the comparison side by side on this piece of this slide out, and just kind of quickly show you the process. I've already actually cleaned this surface with the spray 9. I've also already gone around my edge with my first product, which is this oxidization remover. So again, that was just dabbing some on the corner and just working it in around this edge here, you know, getting up into the corners, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I've got that already on there. Okay, so now I'm just left with a nice big clean surface there. Oh, by the way, sorry, in the first part of the video I forgot to have my mic on, so hopefully the sound turns out all right. It probably will. I was nice and close to the camera, so I want to just give this a good shake and get it open here. So I've got obviously my machine turned off. I'm just putting a nice line across there, and like I said, you want to kind of put it on and just smear some on there, otherwise it's going to just flip off of this once you turn it on and start going. So I'm just going to kind of work across here and do section by section. I'm not putting really any pressure hardly on there at all. I'm just working the material in against the surface. When you look like you've kind of used up the product you had, just apply some more and move on to the next area. Okay, so I know I sped that up a little bit. I'm just looking here at my time. So, this section, which is, 5 by 4, let's say 5 by 3, took me about 3 minutes to put that whole coat on there. And so it really doesn't take too long. And as you kind of sit back and look at it, I can see that it's still wet here. It's pretty much getting dry down there. And it just needs a few more minutes of time. Your conditions you're working in are going to determine how quick this is going to dry. I don't have the heat real warm in here where I'm working. I'm down around 15 degrees Celsius or I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, like 60 Fahrenheit or something. So it's a little cool. There's not really any air movement in here, so it takes a few minutes. So, you know, if it took me 3 minutes to put that on, it's probably going to take about, you know, in my conditions, 5 or 10 minutes before I can go back and polish that off. Not sure if you're really going to see any of the difference here. Here's where it's already, where is it? Here it's already done here. And right here is where I kind of started going over. It's hard to see. Maybe this way back against the light you can kind of see. Over there is all done. You can kind of see the line there now. And this has got the product on it. Okay, so I've let this dry. Yeah, I mean, it's not dry. It's got a little bit of moisture to it. It kind of smears when I touch it just a little bit. And maybe that's partly why I'm not being able to use the power to get the excess off, because maybe I'm not leaving it quite long enough, and a little bit impatient, I guess. But anyway, so once I get kind of down to this stage, then like I said, I'll take my terry cloth and I'm just kind of wiping the excess off, getting right against the edges so that I don't leave anything, you know, against a corner or something that gets pulled back into onto the surface when I do my next process. So I mean, it wipes off pretty easy. It isn't the end of the world if you can't use the power unit, but so it's already looking you know, pretty nice. I don't know if you can really see a difference even, hardly. This side of the RV wasn't as bad as the other side, but you know, somewhere in here is my line where it was where I'd already done the final whole process over there. So I'm just going to go ahead and wipe the rest of this off. I'm just kind of turning my towel over every now and again, trying to get a clean spot that doesn't have a bunch of excess of the product on it. And I've actually got that good enough that I'm not going to go with the power polisher over top of it. I've got all the excess off that I need. I can move on to my next step. Okay, so you can see over in this area we've got pretty good shine, and as I move you back you can see it's a little splotchy, right? That's the area that I just wiped off. And once we do our next process on this side, it will be nice and shiny. Okay, so again, clean terry towel. We've got our product here. This stuff I find is a little bit thicker than the other, and plus I'm getting down on my container, so it takes a little more to get it out. So I'm going to do all my edging. So I'm just putting some on the corner of the cloth, and I'm going to go and just polish up my edges. Getting right into any corners that I have. And I'm just repeating the process with the power unit. Put a bit on there. Okay, so our product is dried, and now it's just time to wipe it off. So you can kind of see some white marks here, so now this is why I always buff it after. I can see it really easily. I don't know if it's showing up as well on the video. So now I'll just come back with my lamb's wool and polish that up. Okay, so you can see, like I said, I did that 4x5 or so panel. I know the video's probably 30 or 40 minutes long, but in reality that chunk there is probably going to take you, I don't know, maybe half an hour. But you know, this whole RV is 30 feet long on one side, and that'll take me about 4 hours start to finish to get that side done. Maybe 3 if I'm really hustling and if it was a little warmer and my products were drying quicker. So it's just, it takes some time and takes some elbow grease, but you can't deny the results compared to what it looked like before. So yearly, now that I've got this good base here now, if I went every year and did two of the steps, the cleaning and that final waxing every season at the end of the year, I could probably keep this up with half as much work, right? But last time I did this was about 4 years ago, and it doesn't take long for that chalky residue to show up. So, and that's another good point. To know whether you've got a gel coat or a painted finish, one of the easiest ways to tell that I know of is, you know, when it's been exposed to the sun for a few years, and if you wipe your fingers down it and you've got a chalky residue on your fingers, that's likely a gel coat, right? It's that gel coat breaking down. Usually a painted finish will dull, but it doesn't really get that chalkiness on it, okay? I've heard of people even using some flooring products, like hardwood flooring sealers or cleaners. I've seen mixed results on that. So I hope that the video was good. I appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're more of a DIY home improvement, house improvement type channel, but I do have a fair amount of RV tips and tricks and DIY maintenance as well. So hopefully you found it interesting. Let me know in the comments below what products you've used before.